Okay, hello everybody. I'm Liang, and thank you.
No, 1 minute.
One more minute. All right. So, getting me nervous. Never do a talk in front of such a big crowd. One of the best conference in the world for open source. Okay, I'm Liang. I'm the founder of DeepComputing. I devoted my last career for RISC-V. So, and I know Chris for 25 years? Yeah, back in Xerox. So, and now, at that time, we're doing MIPS, and then now we start doing RISC-V again. So, and I'm my honor to do the presentation, do the talk, and asking for help here in FOSDEM. Today, we talk about why do we really do Android, and how I'm going to do it. So myself, I'm a software guy, and I do electronic, sadly, and then I usually do the whole VM porting back in the since '94. So porting all the VM, Java VM, all from interpreter to JIT to whatever, to all the mobile device. So Android is not a new thing for me at that time. So, and I run the NAS in Nokia, run the feature phone Java platform. So, and I founded DeepComputing and doing RISC-V during the COVID. And then because I'm a software guy, I did the electronics. So I'm serious about software. So I decided to do my hardware. So I'm losing all the money. Sadly, very sad. So, and back in 2023, we make the first laptops with the 4-core. And 2024, we make the 2 set of a product and same laptop and tablet. That's the first time I was going to port the whole Android until I find so many problems I give up. So, and this tablet with the external modem can make a call using Linux. And then the founder of RISC-V, David Patterson, used this tablet, called his wife. And because anonymous call, and then his wife rejected the call. So, and it supports Fedora and Ubuntu, first ever at the time. So, and then later on, I start realize that hey, I'm losing too much money and too much time to making the hardware. And then they say, let me focus to one thing. Then they decided to partner with the most modular startup framework. So they have a booth there. Basically, the idea of being open up all the hardware. So Apple going vertical optimized, and then framework go all the way open. You can fix it, you can upgrade it, you can do whatever you want to it. And they open up all the CAD, you can make any module around it. So I decided to make a motherboard for it. So, and then it support all the architecture, one laptop. You can support all the architecture with all different motherboards. You can come back to our booth and the framework booth to see it back in the AW buildings. It's a perfectly fit for the European cultures, environmental, DIY, right? Same as IKEA. And then this is the first motherboard make, and we use the 4-core. Then I spin the board in 3 months. So make the motherboard in 3 months fit into their laptops. And then I do another generation last year, sorry, and took a while because of AI. And then now it's coming in a rush. It's a 16-core, 245 gig. And because it run on the framework has a tablet versions of 12-inch. You're going to see the 12-inch motherboard with a tablet and laptop all together. So today we talk about Android on RISC-V. So anyone knows hardware doing the chipsets? Anyone here? Just now, people talk about mobile, and when we're doing mobile, so usually now the mid end, low end already 12 nanometers, for especially for mobile phone. But from tablet, you might still find the 20 nanometers. So 12 nanometer SoC, they need to sell 1 million, so they have to break even. So they're very expensive. And then if it's 20 nanometer, it's easier. So that's why the chip tablet is easy to survive. But now, once the DDR hits this price, now the price I got for 4 gig DDR is $50 already. So the chip tablet time is gone. So now back to the 6 nanometer, we need to sell 2.5 million SoC to make a volume to break even. So you can see, when we look at that, we see what OS can support the hardware guy to survive. Otherwise, they go bankrupt. So Windows, they're killing ARM, right? Only x86 survives. ARM doesn't. Qualcomm spend billions on it. Can't even make money out of it. And then Linux, very tough. Especially the mid-high end, very tough. So industrial PC, that segment is very fragmented. We will not survive SoC manufacturers. So the only thing people can survive and make the SoC, they have to do Android. So far, the whole RISC-V, and that's actually, I did 3 ports for the T-Hat. Android 10, we do the initial port for 2 chips, test chip 2 core, and then when they have TH1520, there's 4 core, then put it again, Android 12, and then Android 14, then we do the RVV 0.1 spec optimization for the VMs. So Android 16, fucking give up. Right. So people invest, the chipset guy invests, nearly $1 million for 3 times. Couldn't mass produce it. The reality is sad. It's extremely lack of resources for RISC-V. Very sad. So you look at the ARM side, right? We know that when we look at ARM side, how many software engineers they permit into support Android? Just ARM, right? 1,000 guys. And then the SoC guy, Qualcomm, MediaTek, RK, how many guys? Hundreds. And then product side, Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, blah, 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 all those guys making guys, thousands, armies, right? So for RISC-V, the problem with lack of time, Sci-Fi's IP, most of now the SoC I use, they use Sci-Fi's IP. So Sci-Fi is not enough resources. And Starfire, I run the first 4 cores from Starfire using Sci-Fi's IP. So all the startup is running time. And the least wing in my AI PC, same. They're very old now. And the Space Mrs. Youngest, that's the 16 core coming out, right? So that's already 4 years. So if you don't do Android, not breaking even, brutal, right? You can lie to the investor for 3 years, 5 years. One day you don't break even, you know where you can't do it. So it's very sad, right? So what's the challenges? For the hardware side, people going through the ARM usually go through the ARM cycles. ARM done a lot of things, hidden things you never know, right? Hidden. But sometimes you will find ARMs disappear. I bet most of ARM SoC guys will just go take up. Right? The IP side, GPU side, all the whole software stack, porting, verifications, mostly done by ARM. But RISC-V, there's not even one IP guy or GPU guy match up the resources. So just not enough to verify it. And then the SoC is complex SoC with all the multimedia, codec, display, and all those compositor, and then plus all the Dolby, blah, 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 blah. Wow, very complicated, right? So plus Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, the endless, right? The whole stack. And software side, Google does claim supports it. But because it's chicken and egg, regional chicken and egg, so it supports it in Cuttlefish, but it just a very simulated night. Right? Nothing's verified. The tool chain, the kernel, those things. No one knows the quality of it. No one. And then same, RISC-V kernel as well. So RISC-V kernel, we with the SoC put it there, and because Google dictates the Android kernel versions, so you had to do all the porting, blah 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 blah. So nothing is verified the qualities. And then nevertheless, the whole GPU stack we use imagination because there's no way you can use Mali, right? So we use imagination. Imagination, these do have some product on the MTK side or on the other Chinese side, the Unisource, all these, they have a certain IP that can do mass production of Android devices. But still, for RISC-V, no one verified the whole stack. And most of the SoC guys, usually they don't ask for the Android DDK or whatever DDK from imaginations. So usually we had to, if we want to do the product, we want to do the Android port, we had to do a lot of reverse engineer. Right? So that is and nevertheless, the whole complexity of the multimedia and Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, just shitloads of work. Right? And attitude side, even worse, right? We have a lot of vendors, the RISC-V circle, they do their port on Android, but they never share. With limited resources, you do some work, but you don't share. So everyone is building a toy. It's not meant for mass production. And then my solution to it, I completely fed up. And then I said that we need I could not solve the GPU issues as a hardware manufacturer. But I can solve it with an external GPU. So, and that's why I start with it. Now, I put in all the devices, for example, and then with everything open source and reference porting guide, let people put in their device, but with external GPU support. It's the same as Intel. Same as Intel, you have an Intel laptop, you can run Android. That's the same idea. So let me get the RISC-V AOSP, let's get to a quality first. So that involves the kernel. And then after that, then I was trying to solve the SoC specific multimedia, right? And the multimedia and the I/O, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all this, make it as a complete baseline, as a reference portable or whatever product, complete baseline. And then after that, then I can verify the kernel. Whatever we do is cool enough, because the SoC guy is so tied up with the Linux kernel LTS. Right? Usually, Android kernel you need to either backport to their specific versions. So from the latest LTS. So that is the thing that we need to, after step by step, then we can stabilize the whole thing. And then one last, then we think about the whole integrated GPU, how we're going to do it. So basically at that time, after we got the first two things done, then I will negotiate with the SoC guy to ask imagination. See whether you can support the whole graphic stack now. Without the first two, even though imagination gives you DDK, we seen that one chip you just crash everywhere. You have no idea where to crash. You don't know where to crash it in the baseline or the kernel and the GPU. It's just like a mystery, right? So, and then last but not least, that we decided to open source it out, and then I forced all the guys in RISC-V. So I open source. They have nothing to hide, right? There's no value anymore. They hide. They had to take my stuff because their staff can explain to the boss, you need to do your own port again, right? You don't open it, I open it. So your boss can do. If someone open it, why you do it yourself, right? That's the perfect example of open source. And the one thing AOSP, one thing is very bad. I think Chris knows about it. right? When you do a AOSP feature port, whether Google accept it or not, right? It's hard, right? So then we might have to fork it and have to sing it, right? If you want to keep up with it. And that's the whole Android port there. So if for RISC-V you guys want to have a port, learn to port the whole thing, then keep looking on it, and then I want you guys to port. And I was saying that I come down here for the reason is I want you guys to support it. To help me to do the work, and then I can give the hardware for free, there's no problem, right? And we have all the sponsorship program, and then one, basically, if RISC-V continue like that, they don't scale up, the SoC dies at the end, I don't have chip, so I can't make device anymore. So we need to sort out Android. And I do not know Google when they're going to close the source up. I don't know. Right, but one day, right. But hopefully we're good enough to carry on from there. And that's all from me. And there's a lot of work, really a lot of work. And now I can, if you guys want to know more about RISC-V, come down to our RISC-V booth, international booth, and the AW building. And also, feel free to connect me on LinkedIn or whatever, you know. Hands up, I want to support you, give me the hardware. Just write me an email, subscribe to the sponsor program, and help us. And I'm sure that once we get over this hurdle, and RISC-V just exactly the same as Linux. We belongs to everyone, and then make the open source belongs to everyone, not just a country, not just a continent, right? That is my last career on RISC-V, something really open. No one can shut anybody up. Thank you.
So we have like 5 minutes for questions, if anybody has any questions of Liang. The only thing is, since there's only one microphone, can you repeat the question so it gets recorded?
Okay.
One small question. Since loads of Android apps are just made for only ARM, so they contain ARM binary blocks, is there already a solution for emulating this ARM code on a potential RISC-V devices?
Okay, so the question you're asking is that because we have a lot of ARM block on the app side, so and you will see that we do have ARM to RISC-V emulator. That is part of the deeper, I would say, is the medium-term application side. For us, if we do the Android, we will probably focus certain market that do not have those kind of apps. And for example, most of the apps on Flutter, Dart, those are probably perfectly fine. And for those apps that, you know, like probably in the Far East, or probably I think even in the West, they have a lot of so-called encrypted app. And those are one hard. And I can see that Android is very fragmented compared to Apple. Apple is big code based. So when you download the app, the server will compile to whatever the target or you open your app onto your mobile phone. That's how Apple does it. But you know, and Android, probably Google don't do that because all the market is so fragmented. So we do have ARM to RISC-V translator. At the moment, we can see the binary translation is around 2/3 of the performance. We lose around 30%. I think there's no technology barrier because Rosetta have done it already on the Apple side. Thank you.
you talked a lot about unverified and untested basically.
Yep.
Could you maybe describe where you really are from a functional point of view? So
Yeah, basically is that what is unverified means, software side basically, now Google makes an ARM version AOSP, runs on emulators. But, so I just repeat the question, basically what is unverified baseline? What unverified baseline, they never go through the whole hardware cycles. So it's a purely software emulation on the QMIL or Android Studio. That's it. So they never go through any of the hardware at all, even the dev board.
Is there a device which passes CTS on RISC-V?
No, none so far. None hardware. The QMIL, the Android Studio might pass, because underlying the abstraction is x86 stuff. Right? So they got it, and that's why it basically is unknown is too many. That's why you haven't gone through the market whole mass production experience. None of them have a quality. All we're doing is just, for example, for the past 5 years, the port I've done is, I would say that it's just a prototype, a demo. We never reach to a mass scale productions. Thank you for your questions.
Anyone else? Okay, so thank you very much to Yuning for that fantastic presentation. And there'll be a short pause while we switch over to the next speaker. Thank you.